Oh, welcome back. I apologize once again for the construction going on in my place, my building. I'll do my best to try to avoid that kind of interruption. Please forgive me. Go back to the conversation at hand, or should I say subject at hand. Um, Being a leader means being an example, uh, which is not always the best because sometimes people don't understand what factors into leadership um, in terms of making decisions that other people are not in agreement with. Um, if you could bear with me, making the difference between being a dictator, if you will, opposed to sounding like one, uh, uh, opposed to the fairness we spoke about earlier. And that fairness is sometimes the difference between the decision that I make, or should I say the things that go into a decision that I make. Um, are they up for scrutiny? Meaning, do other people have a choice of my agreement, or excuse me, have a choice of my opinion, or my ways of going about it, what should be done, what shouldn't. If I could use the word democracy, when there's other factors, like my wife, for instance, and we discuss things and we talk about it, we don't always reach the same conclusion. Uh, but making a hard decision sometimes based on what I feel strongly about is what has to separate me from my constituents. I don't want this to sound like a political party, but it almost suggests its makeup is similar. Because if me and my wife isn't in agreement with it, do I just cast away what she brings to the table because it's my rule, it's my call, and it's the call that I'm in agreement with? Um, I think that can vary, and to be fair about it, it depends on the subject and as well as a conversation in terms of what need to be done, what should be done, what would please me to see done. Again, fairness factor in to say, you know um, what she shares with me about how she feels about a given situation. Once again, um, I value her input. Um, I value my children's input as well. Me being the father, if you will. Um, Sometimes I do have a tendency to lean to what I think need to be done. I've been wrong before, and I've corrected myself about those things. I'm human, yeah. I can't rid myself of that factor. It's it's my call, and I have to be responsible for whatever outcome come of it. That's my call. Once again, having a right hand, like my wife, um, the fairness of filtering the things that. Can I use the example? My daughter misbehaved, and uh, I thought it was time that I stopped giving her so much freedom because I feel like sometimes she needs to learn how to take an order, if you will, from me, certainly, or to take advice, or excuse me, as a father, to do what I told you to do. Um, you know, again, the more you do it, the you know your family, you know what you have around you. I'm just looking at the structure, and the father is who he is, like the mother is who she is. But as the father and being responsible for the family, that responsibility falls on my shoulder. I take it very serious. Um, I do my best to carry myself as a man that my daughter could come and talk to me, just like my wife could come and talk to me. It's not a shut door policy. Here we go again. Because I'm always open, and we should always be open to other inputs. Sometimes not being such a quick reactionary taught me that you got time to adjust your thinking towards whatever the subject might be. In this case, using that example, she misbehaved. What should I do? What? Because at the end of the day, I want us to function as a family unit. Unit, excuse me. I don't want my children scared of me. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. No more than I want my wife to be afraid to come and talk to me. The same thing. I'm open to learn things as I go along, especially from being a young father to growing old in that position again, if you will. That I take on some of the things that I've learned and I've seen and experience shows me sometimes not for me not to be so fast in my judgment. I'll sometimes I'll slam my fist down and say, you know what, that's it, where she's at. I'm ready to swing into action. And I've learned from my younger days as I gotten older that that's not always the way to go. To give a thought. This is something. This is something important. This ain't. This is. It's not a plaything. Being a father, being a husband, being a man. I grow into these clothing. I don't just wake up and put on all of this armament and know what each part is used for. No, it's almost like I have the job. I get the job from being a man, producing a child. I don't have to be, excuse me, as it was interviewed. I'm automatically a father. Now, where do I go from there? Who am I? What am I? What am I trying to do? Where am I trying to lead my family to? I want them to have confidence in me. I don't want them to lose confidence in me. Even though sometimes they'll see my ups and downs. We live in the same place. How do we not see each other? Um, so being a father, I have to make those decisions. Knowing my wife, my right hand. My best friend ain't a dog. I resist that and I reject that kind of thinking or talking in any instant. A dog could never be my best friend. Dog is an animal. I'm a human being. God made woman for man. God didn't make dog for man. No, that's sound like silly nonsense. And I don't accept that. My right hand is my best friend. But she go through with me what nobody else do. She lays next to me at night. She sees me. She see my ups. She's seen my downs. She know what kind of man I am. We know each other and we're best friends. Sometimes I could see, even talking to my wife, if she's upset on something and she's going through something. Sometimes I learn to listen and not be so fast to comment. To give me a minute to give it thought. Because sometimes right out of the gate, I can jump to a conclusion very quickly based on what little information I have. How much more am I able to do when I take a minute and think about what's going on and what I think is a good course of action? Things like that, like I said, teach me in my future dealings that I wanna give my family the best, even of my counsel, because it's important. They could go out the door and not do anything that I advise. I'm familiar with that. But I hope they give me as much thought as I give them. And if what I'm telling them makes sense, maybe they'll take time to ponder those things. Again, I'm learning myself, fitting the shoes that are in front of me. One size don't always fit all. Sometimes my hat might be too big and my shoes might be too big. My thinking might be too big. I have to make adjustments as I see fit. Being a man puts me in positions that's a part of manhood. That's what God created me to be. And in being a man, I am also a producer. I'm a producer of the things that my family need. I take those things serious. And I used to go to work and sometimes during overtime and I find myself in not a good weather condition, or it's snowing or it's raining or the wind is blowing, and I've been through moments where I would kind of wish I was home relaxed and with my family, but I know I have to go and get. I have to go and get. I'm trying to show my family sometimes you have to do that. As a leader, sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you could give way to a situation and say, well, I would normally go today, but since the weather's not too good, I'll be home today and I'll do little things around the house. And a producer doesn't sit there with their hands behind their head. I get this picture and I'll show you it. And he's chilling. There's that word again. We're going to be dealing with that word. And meaning he's doing nothing. What do that mean to the family? Where do that put the family? No, no, no. We at work even when we're not at work. My daughter run up to me. I'm cooking barbecue, excuse me, in the backyard, and she said, Daddy, so and so and so and so. All right, give me a minute and I'll get to that. All right, leave it alone. All right, I know, I see it. All right. She's bringing information to me that I should know about, and I'm exchanging to her that I do know about it, and I'm going to address it, excuse me. And those things like that is what add up to a family union, if you will, as in unit. We come together certain days, times we sit down and we talk things over. I like hearing their thinking sometimes because I like to hear how they think. I could see correction a mile away with just talking to my daughter. I could see what I believe is needed because I've learned to listen to her. I learned not just to talk at her. Same thing with my wife. Same thing, but different. Because my wife is my best friend. Wife is my partner. My wife is my right hand. I depend on her like she depends on me. But I hold my position. And it's not always easy. Sometimes I sometimes it's alone. I feel alone with it. And it should be. Because that's a part of leadership. Everybody's not always going to be where I am in terms of my thinking, in terms of what goes into a man. My daughter's not a man. My wife is not a man. I am that. Those are things that I go through. Sometimes try my best to learn how to look at things how female do, but that's not who I am. Sometimes I like to listen to my daughter, like I said, and I like to learn the perspective of the young ones. But I am not that. I am, and I bring to the whole that makes the picture whole who I am. And that's a man, a father, a husband, and a servant of my God. All of those things define who I am and who I want to be. My discipline has grown to where it's at. Like I said, sometimes I used to advise my kid to do something that I'm not doing. How is it that I get so good at advice and not so good at trying to do those things? I could just scream out on your father and you do what I tell you to, but that's not who I want to be. That's not the relationship I want to have with my children or my friends or employees or fellow excuse me journeymen. Um, Work is different than home life, but I want to go about my way and walk a path of one that is a thinker, and so those things come with me. Um, those things are who my makeup allows me to input in myself, if you will, and I learn and I go through things, and I don't have all the answers. Um, I don't know. I know God has all the answers, but as a human being, I don't. So I learn, and so manhood for me, being a man and manhood, maybe one day we'll be able to even go search a little further, because you, my love, beloved, excuse me, can teach me some of the things that I don't know now, and hopefully vice versa. Or if nothing else, give you something to think about. Sometimes when you take time to think about it, it, it could be a decision changer. Um, Speaking once again for myself, I back walked things before, or sometimes reconsidered things, and that openness is what I like about myself, because I like to be open for further thinking. You know, I am trying to be mindful of myself and who I want to be, and how do I get there. Um, but as being a man, I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. I woke up one day a scared rabbit. Went about this life, and boy, I got some wounds. Make you run into hiding and lick your wounds and realize when you go back out there, you got to make adjustments. They'll eat you alive. So much going on, so many things, so many situations. Once again, it has its complications, but yet it has its pleasures. It has its points when I hold my position, mean what I say what I mean. Those things don't come just overnight. It takes work to go through those things. Shaping myself, uh, um, uh, um, takes work. Um, Being a man isn't easy no more than being a woman, no more than being a child. We all do the best we can at a given position. But if we live another day, we learn something today that we didn't know yesterday. So we input that. Being a leader has to bring us back to re-look at things sometimes, to use those examples, to show what needs to be shown. Those are things that go into that leadership. And I hope to do good at it. And I hope to get better at it. Like I said, in life, nothing stays the same. Nothing. The time don't stay the same. That's marked by the seasons. The seasons change, and such is life change. My opinion today might be my opinion, or might differ to my opinion tomorrow. It certainly has an opening. Like I said, I can think what I think is the solution one day and come back and say, well, no, maybe that wasn't a good. So I can change. Those things change, and so must I change, and so much that I have to, be conscious of my walk in life, if you will. I'm trying to be the better part of myself. I have to start by trying. I don't know these things, and I've grown to learn and to and to allow myself to evolve as well. Like I said, my thinking, the way I go about my day, the way I go about my way, um, those things change. My perspective changed. Studying changed me over and over. One day I have this way of looking at it, and the next day I have something else. Trying to find consistency within the two, or making peace within my own mind of my own decision. Those things is not lightweight. I don't want to run around like a fool. My brother used to say, it's so hard for you to learn to be a wise man since you've been in the companies of fools all your life. I stopped right there with that. I'm not judging people, but when you, that's why I think it's so important to the company you keep. Um, you know, another adage says, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you who you are." Friends is acquaintance, friends and acquaintance, and people that you're in company is not a mark against you. Positive. Well, um in a positive way, yeah. Let me take this apart for a second. People see me in the company of people that's doing things, that's upright and doing and moving right. So they almost associate me with that company. Is that fair to say? I think it is. If somebody see me on the block and laying on the floor and drinking wine and cursing and my clothes not appropriate, I'm not appropriate, and I look like a bum in the street, and I'm with other ones that give way to that. How do they look at me? Am I one of what they're looking at? Most of the times I am. So you are sometimes based by your company. Sometimes you have to be careful, excuse me, with your company. When you mindful about some things, you start out being inquisitive and looking, and oh, I seen you with someone, so oh, you be doing that? No, I don't be doing that. I just be chilling. Here we go. I just be hanging out with certain people, but truth be told, you're being judged by that. Some could probably be harsh judgment, and some is right on point. Show me your company, I'll show you who you are. Things like that. So I think when I start to make those kind of adjustments, I move alone. I I I I don't need nobody else's mess. I got enough of my own. And when you're trying to find your way with those things, then to be fair about the changes that I have to make, I have to go some parts alone. I think sometimes most of my gain is when I am by myself. When I'm with my family, that's who I am. The majority of the time, I'm a family man. I've made that change over, and I'm working with that. There's times I need to get away, like on the job and on a vacation. You need a break. You need to get away from some things. I enjoy fishing, for instance. So I just go fishing. I need to get away to get a breath of fresh air. Then when I come back, I'm fresh and ready to go. I mean, those things that are important to not only my survival, but where I'm going and where I'm trying to go. Those things, if I use them right, they'll assist me. Those things won't hurt me. They'll make me better prepared for what it is that I'm trying to do or where I'm trying to go. Sometimes making that distinction sometimes isn't always what I want to do. It's this or that. You can't have both for that moment. Only one thing could fit there at the moment. That's where priority come in. This is more important. Pleasure could wait till later. Right now, sometimes imagine when pleasure becomes the main thing. I need relaxation. I need a break. put that off on the side. I can deal with that the way I need to when I take care of what's in the forefront. The, I hope you're following me. I'm certainly not trying to complicate this, but I'm trying to come across to understand some of these things. And and family, it's, excuse me for a second. I get a little dry now. Some of those things we spoke about is not obviously the end of me per se. It those are the beginning of the beginning of where we're going, of where I'm going. Those are the things that I used at any given moment. Those are my truths. And maybe I hope that you have similar things that you can draw your own comparison. I don't make a choice for you, I make a choice for me. I don't overboast my growth or where I'm at. I'm humbled by it because I worked my tail off to get to where I am. And I'm sure you did too. And if you haven't, you will. Because to go about this life and the things that comes to the forefront that challenge us, you know, we got to do the best we can, and we got to be about our wits. And we make, like I said before, hard decisions. Sometimes some decisions are harder than others. Some are so no-brainer, like that I said that to make that change is not a big thing to me. In fact, I feel better already because I know what I needed to do, and I was encouraged to do it. I'm with a group of men and we're talking and we're discussing, and I'm listening, and I hope they are as well. And I learned some things. I learned some things to do. I learned some things not to do. I learned some things is his way and not always the way that I see fit. I make my adjustments. We're around our peers, our friends, our neighbors, our family. We pick and choose what we loan ourselves to. Don't nobody hold us hostage to their way of thinking, because I don't see things the way you do. That's what makes us individuals. How I choose to lead my family may not be how you choose to. And so, to each his own. But my growth called for these things. My growth called for me to bear those burdens, if you will, and to make the decision of which direction my family is going in. I want to be a good leader, a good father, a good son. I want to be open to ridicule. I have to be in my fairness because it calls for that. Because to be better, to make myself better, I have to do and listen and look at them things. Some things might be fitting and some things may not. Give myself the chance to make that distinction for myself. For I am who I am, and I hope to be. Beloved, a lot of parts of our conversations are some of the things and the issues and the regular walk of life that I'd like to sit here and talk to you about, to try to maybe give light to them. Some things I once again I don't know. We can sit here and we can take it apart, and maybe we'll find a better understanding to we can and we will find better understandings to where we're going and what we're looking at. And I hope it makes me a better person. I depend on that. And I believe it will help you as well. These things that we talk about, it's just something to think about. It's just something to think about. if it sits well with you, then maybe it's time for a change. Once again, nothing stays the same. Sometimes, you know, sometimes we gotta try new things, and we'd be surprised at their outcome. And when you do it a few times, you're encouraged to do it more because there's more to be got. Excuse the way that English don't sound so proper, but there's more to get. But we don't get it if we don't at least try. We're about trying, man. My anchor is on God. God is a holder of my ship. And if you want at any time, and I invite you to anchor yourself to me, well, I'm held by the strength of God. And God is strong enough to hold the two of us. And all of us imagine a God that powerful. That's the kind of God I serve. That's the kind of God we serve. God ain't lightweight. I'm lightweight. But I'm anchored to strong. I'm anchored to the strongest thing on earth. That's my Father. Because he loved me and he take care of me. He gives me insight. He corrects me when I'm wrong. He teaches me how to stay open to further communication, to learn certain things about certain situations. It makes you that much wiser. I don't know about everything. My Father is the maker of everything. Simplify it. I have a problem with my car. First thing I do is look at the manual in the car. It tells me about the car because the manufacturer made the car. But just like my brain, God is the manufacturer of my brain. When I need to check something, I check it with my Father. I check with the maker. I see what the maker says about it. If it makes sense, it's in alignment. If it's the truth, then I have to learn how to digest it. Because once again, I learn how to take my medicine when I need, and it's a metaphor, if you will, just to say I need to take what I need to take to become better. Beloved, once again, I apologize for the earlier interruption. This particular video was going to be a little shorter because of that. Please, if you're new here, my name is Melvin Jackson. I'm learning. I'm your brother. I'm your anchor, and yes, I'm your messenger. I bring it straight from God as I know it to be. What you find usable, please, you're welcome to look at it. And if you find it to be 100% of what it is, and the truth will set you free of a lie. I come and I bring what I have to the table. I hope you find it acceptable. I hope you find it useful. This is my job today. I take my job very serious. Excuse me, sometimes you'll see me dressed a little more relaxed, and sometimes you see me dressed and I'm ready for business. I'll tell you the truth. These fine garments of what I have, I do it for you. I do it for respect of our subject. If I didn't have it to do, then I couldn't. But I have it to do. I want to be taken serious, and I'm sure you would like to be taken serious by my family, friends, or strangers. I want to be on post. I am a soldier. I am a warrior. That's what God made me to be. But I'm also a father, a son, a husband, a servant, a human being. I want to make my life better so that I could possibly make somebody else's life better. Follow with me. We need to get back to some of the old things that's so important to us. We need not forget those things that we need as nourishment. We sit down at the table and we have a greenery, We have a vegetable, we have a starch, and we have a meat. And God sets everything before us of what we need. And so we become partakers of that. And just like we take care of our body physically, some of us do, some of us could do better, then we must also take care of our mind. It's just as important. In fact, it's most important. Because where the mind go, the body must follow. The head is the leader. That's what God made us to be. We're going to stand up and we're going to be just that. If we decide not to, then that'll be on us. But it certainly won't be, because the word of God is not leading me towards the direction that I need. God knows where each one of us is going, know what each one of us need, and what and how to use those things in front of us. God knows when to sit us down. God knows when to separate us. We trust in God. It's not just a cliche. I trust in my Father, for without him I'm nothing. Without my Father I'm nothing. But with my Father I'm everything that I long to be. So beloved, thank you for listening. Once again, we have another day. Let's make the most of it. Let's be mindful of our growth. I started calling this the other day the Anchor Club. It's a bit corny, and that's fine. But I would like us to be a community of thinkers. So I'll use that. Welcome to the Anchor Club. When you hear me say that, welcome to where we are. Welcome to our study group. Welcome to the Hall of Thinkers. You're a thinker, beloved, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be listening. We nourish each other, and we nourish everything that God put before us. So let's do it. Let's be excited to do it, because this is a new start. There's a lot of us out there. We need to come together. Everybody else do it. What's wrong with us? Yeah, we need to come together and get our voice together and be the better part of who we are. God is taking us somewhere. Everything doesn't stay the same, nor do yesterday. We are the vision of tomorrow, and we're gonna work our tails off to be right on point. We're not giving up, beloved. We're not quitters. We're not quitters. We don't cop out to lightweight stuff. We work hard, man. We go hard. I love you. I love you, family. I love you. So thank you for listening. Once again, if you're new here, please come back again. Please subscribe button, because that's a way, the subscribe button is a way that we can stay in contact. Feel free, please. I mean it with all my heart that I said leave a comment. I hope I'm doing what I know to do, and I can do it better. And I'm willing to work hard to do it better. I'm willing to work hard to be there for you, like God is there for me. I am my brother's keeper. I love you, beloved. Have a special day. Have a good day. Go about our day with the good part of mind. We have something to look forward to. And I look forward to seeing you again. Once again, I love you. Thank you for listening. And please come back. Peace.